10 things about applying for a 457 visa, Australia's most common temporary work visa. I'm going to mention 10 key points about the 457. Much more detail on each point can be found on the news page of my website. The site address for news is www.workvisalawyers.com.au/news. If you find this video useful, then hit the subscribe button for more videos. So let's start with 10 things to know about the 457 visa. Number 1. There are 3 stages to the 457 application. Stage 1, sponsorship. The business must meet criteria including training benchmarks. This is an employer-sponsored visa, so there has to be a business who wants to sponsor someone for a position. Stage 2, nomination. The position must meet the criteria. Stage 3, visa. The applicant must have the required qualification and skills and English. I will give more details on each of these stages. Number 2, sponsorship. The employer will need to meet the training requirements to become a sponsor. There are 2 ways to do this, either to be able to demonstrate a track record of providing training to Australian citizens or to pay a training contribution to an acceptable institution. Number 3, the nominated position will need to be an occupation on the CSOL list. The CSOL, the occupation of the applicant, should be on the Consolidated Skilled Occupation list. This list can be found on the immigration website. The top 5 occupations for a 457 visa are cook, cafe or restaurant manager, developer programmer, marketing specialist, and university lecturer. There are currently 651 occupations on the CSOL, so it is worth checking if yours is on the list. Do you need help establishing the most appropriate occupation? Call us, we can help. Number 4, nomination requirements include meeting the salary threshold, market salary, and LMT. TSMIT, Temporary Skilled Migration Income Threshold. This is the income threshold that is set by the department. Currently, the TSMIT is set at $53,900. Please check the figure before you apply as it is subject to change. The business has to pay a yearly salary of equal to or more than this amount for the applicant to meet the TSMIT requirements. Market salary. Market salary is the salary that is being paid to employees with the same occupation in the market. For example, the salary for being a general medical practitioner in a workplace may be $90,000 or more, which is much higher than the TSMIT, which is $53,900. So the Department of Immigration would expect a salary of $90,000 or more for a GP to meet the market salary requirement. Labour market testing may be required. The business may be required to provide evidence that they have tried to fill the nominated position with an Australian employee. The definition of which occupations have to do LMT is very complicated, and it is an area you may need professional advice to avoid problems with your application. Number 5. The visa applicant must have the required skills and English competency. The visa applicant should have the skills, including qualifications and work experience, for the nominated occupation. For some trade-level occupations, a 457 skills assessment will be required. The nominated occupation may have registration and licensing requirements. Visa applicant will need to meet the English requirements or have an exemption. The visa applicant is required to score 5 in each module in the IELTS. There are several exemptions, with one of the most common being English testing is not required if the applicant holds a passport from Canada, New Zealand, the Republic of Ireland, the United Kingdom, or the United States of America. Number 6. There are conditions applicable to a business sponsor and applicant after the grant of a 457 visa. These must be met in an ongoing way after the visa is granted. There are a large number of requirements for an approved 457 business sponsor and 457 visa holder to comply with. Conditions applicable for the business. The applicant must work in the nominated occupation. The business should retain all relevant records. The business should provide training to Australian citizens or permanent residents. Conditions applicable to the applicant. The primary applicant can only work for the approved sponsor. There are a limited number of exceptions to this rule. The primary applicant must maintain adequate health insurance. The primary applicant must inform immigration if they stop working. The Department of Immigration and Border Protection does undertake monitoring of approved business sponsors. We have expertise in helping businesses respond to monitoring requirements. Number 7. 457 offers a pathway to Australian permanent residency. After working with the approved sponsor for 2 years, the applicant can apply for permanent residency through the Temporary Transition RSMS or ENS. The business sponsor must meet all sponsorship requirements for 2 years for the person to be able to have access to this pathway. Number 8. Government review and recommendations to cut red tape. In September 2014, the government released a review of the 457 program. The report contains 22 recommendations which include the following: labour market testing should be abolished, that the English language requirement should be amended to an average score of 5 rather than 5 in each in the IELTS. The report only made these as recommendations and they have not been implemented in regulation as yet, and so they do not apply yet. Number 9. Alternative visas to the 457. If your occupation is not on the CSOL, then your options may include the RSMS visa. This requires a trade level qualification or a diploma but is not limited to the CSOL list. Labour agreement. It is possible to apply for a labour agreement to get access to an occupation that's not on the CSOL. The labour agreement process is usually extended and would require professional assistance. Partner visa. An Australian citizen or permanent resident may sponsor their partner who is an overseas national. Student visa. Studying in Australia can be a good start and Australia has a world-class education system. But you will need to obtain a relevant qualification and then get experience to be able to get a provisional or permanent visa to stay. This is not the full range of options, but just some of the most common. Number 10. Do I need help to do a 457? The 457 process is complicated and the requirements are regularly changed by the Australian government. Currently, 73% of all 457 applications lodged by registered migration agents. This is based on the figures for April to June 2014. In Australia, migration agents must be registered with the Office of the MARA. If you choose to use a migration agent, you should use a registered migration agent. Registration gives you protection and helps ensure people working as migration agents are aware of the current laws and procedures and give you accurate advice. I'm a lawyer and a registered migration agent with over 8 years of experience in the employer-sponsored visas area. If you require assistance with a 457 process, then Work Visa Lawyers has a team of professionals including migration lawyers and registered migration agents. I've enjoyed providing you with information on 10 things about applying for a 457 visa. Hit the subscribe button for future information on Australian visas. You can also keep up through Facebook, Twitter and on our website. Whether you're an employer or a visa applicant, we look forward to helping you with your Australian visa needs.